The good ride, because pros can ride anything. We can't.
So here we are on a lovely spring day, celebrating Gore-Tex, just, you know, living the good life and enjoying the good ride. And I'm taking a look at a special set of bindings. We're doing the sampler again. We're just gonna start with each binding from most responsive to the least. And Peter's somewhere in North Africa surfing. He's left me, he's snapping lips and getting barreled. And I'm sitting here in the rain. But actually these days are better than you'd think because nobody's out. And sometimes the groomers are still good even if there's a little rain. But we're talking about the Ultra FC, and it's had a little bit of a refresh this year. Slightly different toe straps, which are still amazing, super fun. And then, you know, all new ankle strap, and it's a very big, kind of very stiff, supportive ankle strap. Still got amazing ratchets with a little padding on the side. And, you know, it's a very, very supportive ankle strap, and I love it. One thing, this high back is really stiff this way, but it's got a decent twist to where it didn't really bite into my calves. And I rode today all these bindings once. I've ridden these all separately on other days and gotten a good amount of time on them. But now is the last day. It's time to do the sampler, take one run each, and compare them all on the lovely Capita Mercury, a good ride favorite, and just a great board because it really lets you know what the binding's doing, and I love testing with this every year. So this, by far, out of all these bindings, the Strata, the T-Rice, the Atlas, and my Super Pro, which is basically like a slightly tweaked out Contact Pro. This was by far the most responsive. This Ultra FC, it's like all carbon fiber. It has very little shock absorption, and you can feel that. But I mean, once you're on the gas pedal, this thing just goes. It's like, it's not fucking around. And if you want the most responsive binding, one of the most responsive bindings I've seen out there, I'd say this is even more responsive than the most responsive flux binding. You know, it just really turns well. You can see there are mini discs here. It's kind of removable. Make sure you keep that screw in there. And you know, you can see it also is Burton channel compatible. And then you know, there's a little sliding, a little adjustability, and I found with these mini discs are great because you can really just kind of always dial out your stance or get it centered because you're just moving one at a time, and you're not that spread out. So I find it like stance with adjustability is really good. The one drawback with these is if you're deciding to get a board with like setback, powder inserts, slam backs, whatever you want to call them, where you have, you know, 5 or 6 5x2s, you know, here, and then one set back much further, then you need the Union Atlas or the Union Force in their line. They're the only ones with the full-size disc. But I was really surprised that I felt a difference in response from the T-Rice. The T-Rice was the closest out of all these. Then the Strata and the Atlas were about the same. Maybe the Strata a little better than the Atlas this year, which is kind of surprising. But all in all, like, it's just the most mean, most aggressive, fast binding. You know, you don't have much adjustability. You know, you can slide this heel cup in and out. I pushed it all the way in to fit my size 9s, or almost all the way in. And you can twist it a little bit to the side to kind of rotate the high back, but at least there's a little twist here, so it's not gonna bite too hard in your calves if you really like a rotating high back. New kind of like toolless adjustability. It kind of pops down in here, and it's pretty cool. It holds well. I love the sliders, but this is fine. Like I said before, ratchets are incredibly smooth. And you can, you know, adjust this here. You can push this in while it's on your binding. I mean, while your binding's on your board, to to adjust this backwards and forwards, which is great for people like me who ride with different boot size people, so we can quickly adjust on the fly. So look, this is super expensive, and for the money, this T Rice, you're getting, I feel like a more damp, more buttery, more playful binding that almost has the same amount of response. You know, the ankle straps are comparable, and these are really the two that you would compare to. But for the price, like, I think this is like in the low to mid threes, and this is like close to 500 bucks, I think. It's just you're paying too much for this kind of response. But look, that's my opinion. If you're really into the sickest, most expensive, most responsive binding, you know, this blows doors on almost every other upper tier binding I've seen in terms of response. In terms of adjustability, not so much. But it's comfortable, it works, it's super fast and super light and super responsive. So there you have it. That's the Union Ultra FC.